Born Primitive Outdoor is proud to partner with Montana Knife Company, Marsupial Gear, Evolution Outdoors, Sheep Feet, and Capture Gear. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to our sponsors. Welcome back to the Born Primitive Outdoor podcast. I have got Dave from Bowspider. You're technically my neighbor, although this is the first time I think you've been to my house and I haven't been to yours. I see your truck drive by every day, but local Wyoming boy. Dave and I have been friends. I've known you for quite a while, well before we moved up here, but Dave owns Bowspider and is expanding, so I want to talk about the products he offers with Bowspider, as well as some hunting adventures. Dave's about to go your third trip for brown bear?
Third brown bear trip.
You're not making me feel comfortable when I go, but Dave, introduce yourself.
Well, for those that don't know, David Merrill, owner of Bowspider, the bow packing and storage system. And at this point in time, if you haven't heard of Bowspider and you're still carrying your bow, I'm going to ask you why. Bowspider.com. And yeah, that's I like to bow hunt. That's just the nuts and bolts of it is, I think, Aron, that's why you and I have talked so much, is I like to send arrows at stuff. I'm not biased and against lead, but it just is
it's different.
It's different, and I grew up in the Pacific Northwest chasing blacktails and Roosevelts, and it was just easier to bow hunt back then because you got an archery tag in that state, and you got the whole state to hunt. You got a month in August and a month in November to chase antlered and unantlered stuff. So
Dave from Oregon's only about, I guess, an hour and a half from where I'm from. I'm a little bit more in the sticks, but as far as the Bowspider, so I've known guys that use that for everything from on their pack, which I think was the initial use. They use it as storage, right? That I didn't think of it first. When I say storage, they actually have them in the garage and they clip everything, on it. A couple of my buddies kind of jerry-rigged a truck mount up. I don't know I haven't looked if you've perfected that, but they got it to where on the back of their seat they clip it on for their bow that way. So what do you offer on the bow side, and what are some things, probably the craziest things you've seen a customer jerry-rig up? Because you can do anything with it, but it holds your bow so you don't have to carry it. But go ahead.
Correct. It's a two-piece component system. You got a post and a receiver. The post is just under 2 ounces. It's ideally going to mount right behind the stabilizer on a compound bow. We do have some trad bow options. It's best for a takedown recurve that's got a threaded stabilizer.
Yeah.
The receivers, we just shrunk them, brand new launched. So we have 2 size receivers, but you are correct on your hip of your backpack, on the top of your backpack, on your wall, on your truck, even strapped on your tree. I ride in and out of the wilderness here horseback, and so I put one on the back of an empty pack frame, and honestly, there is no good way to transport a bow via horseback, but this is better. So the system
Let me dive into that for people that haven't, because I've been on a horse more than I want to. The preferred, honestly, method before your system of carrying it was in your hand or
strapped to a pack horse.
Well, everybody that I've worked with doesn't like to do that anymore because, one, if the horse goes crazy, the pressure, you can do it. But most of the guys that I recommend that recommend to me for rough trips in, not trail, is a sling or whatever, right?
A sling, yep. And that thing's beating you to death.
Yeah, I just say your neck's going to get pretty raw, and again, this is from me doing it, and you're maneuvering it around, so it does work, but the idea is you have control of the bow, but then 30 miles or so, it's shitty. So a lot of my outfitter friends recommend what you've got because you can keep it pretty low, and you're in control because it's on your body, and if you're going to get hit in the face, then something's coming your way, if that makes any sense. So it's the best way that I have found, and what I tell people to use for going out on a horseback for that reason. Because for people that haven't, and the reason why I interrupted you, for people that haven't ridden a fucking horse into 15, 20, 30 miles, it's a problem with the bow. And when you said strap it to a pack horse, dude, that scares me to death, right? I don't ever recommend that because I've seen so many bows damaged. And if you've never seen a rodeo with horses, whatever that means, grizzly, they smell grizzly blood, whatever happens, somebody straps up something poorly, your bow's going to get fucked up. But dive into that for the horse thing.
You call it a rodeo. So, the horse thing, I own 5 horses now, but right out of high school, I went and worked for Steen's Wilderness Adventures in the Eagle Caps, and I worked for them for 5 seasons. I was the guy that would take your bow and strap it to the top of that pack horse. And as a bow hunter, I cringed every time when I cinched that sucker down, but we had a policy that clients didn't get to ride with their bow. Right?
Yeah.
We had more problems with broadheads and quivers and arrows, and simply put, if you've got your bow in your hand or on a sling, you still got to keep one hand on it, on the sling.
You do.
And now you only have one hand to control your horse. And I'll tell you, those horses that I ran, they'd been up and down that trail their entire life, and they knew it. And any horse will kill you. It's the quickest way to get hurt on a hunt, but it's also the quickest way to make a 30-mile hunt feasible. So long story short, I had a couple clients show up with a big old canvas scabbard that go on the side of a horse. I won't put my bow on a scabbard because I'll tell you right now, my horse will run my knee into a tree up the trail. What do you think he's doing to your cam and your limb and your sight? So
and I think and you've got far more experience than me on horses, right? I've got enough to be dangerous and know the problems. When you watch a horse go through and the horse in front kicks the one in the back, that one's bucking, whatever, and then you get in tight quarters and saddlebags are bouncing back and forth, and you're watching that. I mean, a horse is nothing to mess with, and it will smash your bow or your cam. So talk about how that works with you, because obviously sitting in the saddle, you can mount that to where you're just above the saddle. Do you recommend guys padding the bottom cam so it's not hitting the saddle or anything like that? Like, how's that work?
So I run any pack frame, empty it up, right? Because you don't want a big full pack frame on as well. And if you're going in 30 miles...
you don't want to do that no matter... That isn't... You never want to do that.
You don't want to ride with a full pack frame. No, zero weight in the pack frame. I'm just using the frame as the transport device for the bow in and out. You're correct. And you mount that... I run a 32, 33-inch axle bow, right? So guys that are running 35 and bigger, you're going to have to be a big, tall dude. It's still probably not going to hit the horse. But if you'll notice on our Instagram video, we have it pinned to the very top, and the Instagram is Bowspider. The nocks are facing up. I've turned it so that my post goes out the same size as my quiver for one very specific reason. That way, when my Bowspider's clipped into my backpack, the receiver mounts on the very, very top as high as you can get it, and then I put one strap down on the bottom as low as I can get it, usually through the riser. So you have 2 points of securement. Now the bow can't move left or right. I slide that buckle up as far forward on the pack as I can, so I can reach back and undo that lower strap, pull the bow right off. Kafaru actually has a little gear handle on the striker, or on the 22.
A few of their packs, yeah.
And I can just reach back and actually tuck the cam over that, tuck that strap over the bottom cam, and it locks in the same way. But either way, you're going to secure the bottom cam, the one closest to the ground. The top cam's secured by the Bowspider. I have mine so that my quiver is in between the pack and the bow. So as I duck under brush, the brush isn't pulling the arrows out of the quiver. And now I have 2 hands free to control and input the horse, hold on to the horse. You get on some of those nasty side hill cliffy trails or just off country where you're going through the willows and the brush. Say you're going on a sheep hunt in Canada. There isn't going to be a nice freshly groomed trail. You're just riding through the woods.
It's caribou and moose trails. And I have guys pull the quiver off. For me, and when I say it, not whatever argument, the quivers, I never worry about arrows getting smashed, right? Arrows are pretty tough. You can take care of that quiver more than a bow. So as far as like riding in, I'm not saying you can. I mean, obviously Dave's doing it, but I have them when they want to have like full security on their pack of their bow. I just have them pull the quiver off because that's easy you can strap your quiver with your rain gear, behind your saddle if you need it to. I mean, there's a lot of different options, but the cool cams are the big ones.
The cool one I've seen is a kid mounted one in the back of his Polaris Ranger 4-upper, crew cab. He rolled that sucker over in Colorado. It's sitting right on top of the cab. And you can watch on our video, we just put a pool noodle on the lower roll bar rail with a bungee, the same way I told you to do on the backpack, and the Bowspider up on the headrest. He had the cam about 2 inches lower than the roof of the cab. Yeah. So when that thing rolled over, that bow was just stuck to the back window, basically.
Oh, no shit.
If it'd been in the cab with him, he'd been eating that in the teeth, right? And he's like, he got out and he told me, he sent me a message in a video. He's like, all I really cared about was my bow okay. I'm like, that's a pretty good testament. And you guys don't have to take my word for it. Yeah, I've been 7 years telling you Bowspider's awesome, but we've got lots and lots of customers, testimonials, people are out there using it. And I get it. There's other systems out there that work for other people. And I'm going to tell you right now, if our system doesn't work for you, go try another one. But I want to know why it didn't work.
I don't know whether did people copy you? Because when I say copy you, like you were kind of the
OG,
in my opinion, the first. Like, is there some other goofy, like some people try to?
There's slings, there's some other systems, but as far as like a direct copy, there is a China knockoff out there, and I won't give them.
Don't do that.
I ain't gonna give them any free publicity. Do I like them? Absolutely not.
So with your new ventures, like what can you talk about with what else you have coming?
So we launched Bowspider 2 years ago, and with that launch, we launched a mount for a Picatinny rail. 2/3 of crossbows have a pick rail up under the front, and I wasn't going to get into the crossbow market at all because deep down inside, I just despise them.
Yeah.
Just get a bow, and there's a couple guys out there say, well, I got a shoulder issue. Well, I know a couple adaptive archers that are missing a limb.
Yeah.
And they're shooting a compound bow. So I might piss a few people off by saying that, but I wasn't going to develop the Bowspider because I just didn't.
It's a big market, though.
In 2019, crossbow sales surpassed vertical bow sales. So it was a dumb business maneuver. Anyways, a guy had double rotator cuff surgery, drew a tag here in Wyoming. Dear friend of mine, he was like, I'm just going to turn my tag back in. And I said, you know what, why don't you just get a crossbow? It takes a lot of points to draw a non-resident Wyoming tag.
Yeah.
Come go. And I watched him that whole week struggle where we didn't struggle. We clip our bows and our Bowspiders and walk off, and he's struggling with this. He put a sling on that crossbow, but you got one cam either digging into your leg or you spun it around and it's just beating you to death on your back. So we launched that with that Picatinny rail mount, knowing full well that we could launch this newest product called the Iron Spider, and we prototyped and used it all fall. And Aron, I'm getting a little older. I still love to send arrows, but I got young kids I take hunting and take newbies hunting, and so a lot of times we're taking a firearm instead of a bow. And that Picatinny rail mount means that on our website we've partnered with Tricer, and we have their adapter that converts from swivel sling to pick rail.
Yeah. So
any of your new modern firearms, all the new Weatherbees, all these new stocks, the Peak 44s, they all come with a pick rail up there on the forestock. But if your rifle doesn't have a Picatinny rail on the front end, you can buy that Tricer adapter on our website for $30 more. So now what does that mean? What I've found is with these new mini receivers, we call them the mini mollies. I believe you got to see one of them.
Yeah.
What's cool about those is we took all the technology in the standard OG Bowspider receiver and we shrunk it. We added some features. We made it lighter. And so now it's got integrated clips. It's half the size, half the weight, but it'll go right up on your shoulder strap where a lot of guys carry their Kydex sheath knife.
I'm looking at your website, by the way. I'm not being rude.
That's fine.
I wasn't.
You're not fully prepared for day?
Well, I don't. No, fuck no. I don't ever study for these, but I didn't know you did the crossbow. I should have known when you did the rifle thing. But anyway, I'm looking. It actually works pretty damn good with a crossbow. Looking at the photos, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, it really does. What's cool with for the whether you're, and what I like to say is from Africa to Alaska, Cape Buffalo to Dall sheep, and everywhere in between, there is a feature of Bowspider that you're going to like. Whether that's the headrest, whether that's the hip. Some guys only use it in the headrest of their truck. And I will tell you that is by far my favorite. But if I only had to pick one place, it would be on my hip. Why, Aron?
Yeah, no, I don't like it on my pack, and when I say that has nothing to do with your system.
Yeah, no, my bow needs to be in my hand.
Yeah, and
if you want to harvest animals, if your headlight's not on your head, your bow's in your hand.
Yeah.
What's nice about having one for your hip is when your arm's getting a little bit fatigued, you can just gently hang it on your hip, you get a break, and the second you hear or see movement, your bow goes right back to your hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So the only reason to have one on the back of your pack is when you put the headlight back on the top of your head, you hike out and you put it on your backpack. So The next feature, though, is that Iron Spider, when you mount one on the chest strap up on, basically on your top of your pectoral, you can now hang that whole rifle right there. And that, I'm going to be honest with you, my boy drew a once-in-a-lifetime deer hunt this last year. We filmed it. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. And we didn't put a sling on his. He's got a 6.5 PRC. I don't remember the weight. We stuck a Maven on top. It's a Weatherby. It's a wonderful rifle.
Probably 11 pounds.
With a Banish 30 suppressor. It was over 8 and under. And my kid's little. He's 12. He just drew the tag. And he carried that rifle just clipped on the back of his little backpack, and it was amazing. So for the guys that are shooting NRL, PRS, for the guys that are...
Honestly, I didn't think about that would work slick for a gun in the truck.
Yes.
I didn't think about that.
It doesn't work great with the suppressor on because the gun's just too long. But no, it's I have what I call the rattlesnake. It's a AR-15 that has a drum mag stuck in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And it may or may not be it's semi-auto fire. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
But it hangs back there very, very nicely.
But so just thinking about this, because I didn't really when you showed me the gun, my brain went in a different direction with that. But like for me, because I've got pick rails on, or excuse me, I've got Arca rails, but you can have a conversion to a pick, whatever, vice versa. So do you have any Arca rail attachments yet?
No, and maybe at the moment you just got to have pick rail. So,
but you can, for anybody listening, just because you have an Arca rail, like my guns have Arcas. It's a long enough rail. You can have, like on my Seekins.
You can have both.
Yeah, you can have both because I want to make sure people understand that, especially for your system, because generally when I'm running my bipod on an Arca, I have it up front.
And you can run this behind
it,
so
and it wouldn't affect shit.
Won't affect nothing, and it's under 2 ounces. It's not going to throw off the balance of your bow, your crossbow. I mean, it's not going to get in the way. And what I'm trying to do here is...
I got to be honest with you, dude. I'm going to order 2 now for my truck because carrying the gun, I'm ready. I don't throw my gun in a case very often. Sometimes I do, right? But usually I put it at the buttstock down and it's at an angle and then it falls and shit. My dog's getting hit in the head. So, like, you could lock in an AR on one side, a long gun on the other, and it just clips right behind you.
Yep.
So you could...
And then come bow season, you put those tools away and you can clip the bow right in the same spot. We did a social media video this week. Same receivers. Yep. You just switch out tools, put them on your backpacks. I got guys that have 12 of these receivers, right? And you can screw it to the wall. So you can get home in the garage or the house.
My buddy's looks like a fucking salesman for. He's got them all because he does his packs, guns, bows. He's got them everything, and his wall's covered in them because... It's the same as mounting whatever redneck system, but it locks it in, where if you have a hook, it doesn't lock it in.
And that's where our success come from, is fundamentally when push comes to shove, when you need your bow, you can get it. There's nothing that's going to fail as far as mechanical lock. And, we've got lots of bows hanging on Bowspiders and no broken cams, limbs. So it just was a natural.
And your receiver's only $35.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pulling that off the website because I did not study.
If you get a twin pack, it's only $30 a piece.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking about this or whatever. Because like even my long guns, I've got Thunder Beast suppressors, but they're quick detach.
Yep.
Like you can lock, so it's not a big deal for me to pop the suppressor off. And I don't have that long I mean, when I'm running the dongle suppressor, I'm usually shooting pretty short barrels anyway. But
so we filmed a little social media skit last week, and I'm going to continue to do this just because it went so well. I'm in the back of our Bowspider mobile. I got the plastic case, and I throw it on the ground, and I basically say, "You tired of the case? Save some space," and I hang the bow up in the headrest. And that's not being facetious. Aaron, I don't take a hard case anywhere. And now that I've got the Iron Spider, I used to take my big SKB rifle cases, right?
Yeah.
And they're
up fucking giant. And they're heavy.
And you don't want to put them in the back of the truck because that's not as secure when I'm in at the restaurant eating. And you've got a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 rifle sitting in there. It just is. It makes a lot of sense. They work. And
dude, I would say when you say my one gun's over 8,000 with optics, not the gun, but with optics, it's over 8, and that's the biggest problem. Is I've got the deck system, And it makes it, with the deck, I love that system, but it technically makes it easier to steal because it's higher up in the cab. So, no, I think what we'll have to do, because I was going to do a decked kind of recovery vehicle prepper kind of a video, is show off how I'm going to rig this up with the guns, with the headrest, because it's handy.
For years, Total Archery Challenge gave away, they still do, but we've always given a Bowspider away in the tack truck. And it's always been strung up there. And there's some other systems that have come out to do that, but I'll tell you right now, none of them are secure on your headrest.
Yeah, no, because I ordered one for the back of for a Can-Am at one time. You were just getting going, but it was just the hook.
It's just a hook.
When it seems great until it's not great. And when I say that, meaning it works, but when you hit a big bump,
you go over a water bar, you hit a boulder,
yeah.
you find a log, and all of a sudden you're now, instead of focusing, just same thing on the horse or the dirt bike or the four-wheeler, you're no longer focused on the road with your hands on the controls. You're now reaching behind you trying to secure your weapon. So, but I'll drop a little sneak peek here. What we got coming new is called Net Spider.
Yeah, and I guarantee you're going to make more money from that than you did anything else. Because anyway, go ahead, and I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, because I didn't know you were doing that shit till you got here today. And the net is an ongoing problem. So I'll talk about all the downsides with the systems I've used. Go ahead.
So we shrunk the receiver in even more and made it smaller and lighter to where it won't hold your bow or rifle. And we coupled that with a smaller peg, and we called it the tube tamer. And I knew about this and really designed it to go on your bugle tube. Why? Yes, there's other solutions out there. They use bungees and magnets, and they suck. Yeah. So we shrunk Bowspider down to where we might even shrink it even further. I don't know. You're giving me ideas. But I looked at that bugle tube tamer around my bugle tube and go, I carry a coffee cup, a stainless steel tumbler a lot more often than I do my bugle tube. But and especially when I'm at TAC all summer, I'm like, I got to show this thing off, but I'm tired of carrying this tube around. I'm like, I need my coffee cup, so I got my iced drink with me, right? So kind of as a gimmick, I threw it around the coffee cup. I'll tell you, Aron, I use that every weekend indoor shows, every weekend outdoor shows, starting at Cowboy Christmas in December all the way through the last TAC in July. And so that's 7 months. I've got my coffee cup on my hip with the old bugle tube tamer system. So what I did is I took the strap out of the tube tamer, kept a little post, and I took 2 zip ties and zip tied that sucker around the handle of my fishing net. And then I found my nice wooden fly fishing net, and I took what's called our sight mount post, which has 2 screws that go on your sight mount specifically for saddle hunting. When you climb up the saddle, what happened is all the saddle hunters reached out to me, and they're like, hey, David, your system sucks sitting in a saddle. Because if you look at the tree, the Bowspider's really designed to be on the right-hand side, so you have to pick that bow up, go across your bridge, switch hands, and then try and load, cock, and shoot.
I didn't think of that with saddle,
So by going to the sight mount post, you can now put the receiver on the left side of the tree, the bow on the left side of the tree, and you can bump it while you're up in the saddle. Guess what? It's still locked to that tree, but it's one slick, smooth movement. So when you guys come to TAC or look at it, I've got a sight mount post and a standard post on my bow, and just depending on what I'm doing, if the quiver is locked to the bow, which the tight spot quiver typically is, the sight mount post is basically inoperable.
Yeah.
But once you climb up the tree saddle hunting, you pull the quiver off. Now the sight mount's operable, and so what's cool is you can have an arrow knocked, you can reach down, grab the grip of that bow, pick up, and not have to. So it's basically a new school bow hook for your hip.
Yeah.
But going back to the tube tamer, which went on the coffee cup, that I looked at my fishing net and I'm like, I am tired of lanyards around my neck. And this, because I do some fly fishing here in Wyoming, I like to go, especially the high mountain little streams. I won't give you any stream names. They're called No Tell 'em and No Luck. That's the names of the lakes and streams I go to. But there's some really cool fishing to be done here in Wyoming. But it sucks carrying a net. It really does. And so to either take the sight mount and screw to a wooden net, or take the bugle tube system and zip tie it to a standard net, I've been using it for, all fall. And
are you putting it on your belt or on a pack, or how are you?
So the little baby receiver that comes with the tube tamer, the whole system is $40.
Yeah.
For the post and the receiver, and it comes with a 2-inch belt clip. So you can just clip it on your pants with or without a belt. So if you're in waders, I'd put it on like your wader belt. You could go up high on like the lapel, but I'm usually fishing shorts and Crocs.
Yeah.
And I just clip it right on top of my shorts, clip my net right on my hip. And I still use the tether to tether the net to me. Say I'm going deep water or getting in brush or something.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't get, so I have like I can't even remember the name of it, but it's a box. It's the retractable system. Mm-hmm. The biggest one, it's swaying, which can be a problem. And then when you're walking through shit, it gets hung up and
I've seen the quick detach magnet ones, and yeah, you're wading through willows. You're trying to get to a little spot to cast, and you see a fish rising. You don't notice that 30 yards back, your net's hanging in a tree. So the bugle tube and the net, I highly recommend you keep a 1-point sling attached to you, but you still implement the system. And so now it just gives it somewhere locked. It's secure. You can get it out. But if you go through some brush, because the rifle and the bow is so heavy, A, you'll notice when it comes off, but B, it can't come off with brush. It just can't.
Yeah.
The shorter and the lighter the object, the easier it is to just kind of bump out. And so that's my recommendation to everybody out there listening. But I do believe, for me, as a part-time fly fisherman, that dang lanyard lapel net swinging around between my legs, around my neck, because I'm trying to cast long distance, and this thing's impinging movement, and it irritates me. So I end up laying it on the ground, and then I'm like, oh, I got to grab my net. So
yeah, I mean, so how my system works is I've got it's just, I don't know, whatever. It's a little square box that's,
it's got a retractable zip cord in it and then a quick detach magnet.
Yep, and then that just hangs off my back, right? Whether that be on my chest rig or my pack.
But that net's still flopping side to side and hitting you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that our system is better and you need to throw that away, but we're different, and go ahead and check it out and give it a try and let me know.
Yeah, I mean, because some guys do that system and have a magnet on the side of the net and then magnet it in, and I didn't like that. I just have it swinging. When I'm in the water, it's not a problem. I mean, whatever. But even dropping into the canyon and I'm hitting, it gets hung up, and it's not the end of the world. But then I got to walk back and unhook it, and I'm burning my retractable because I'm like maxing it out. Really, just the stability of it not flipping around is a huge one. The other thing too that would be cool, because I didn't even but in the boat. So normally I just throw the net in the bottom of the boat like everyone else does, but I've got basically the stability, for your legs in the front. I've got pipes everywhere.
Yep.
I could hook it on that.
100%.
And I would not I don't have a retractable. I don't need it for that, but I could just hook it so it's in one spot locked in. Because I mean, we've lost some nets. I mean, we've had them kind of hanging sideways and hooked on branches and had to go. I mean, thank God my nets float, but we've had to paddle like a motherfucker to catch up to them.
Now, I haven't deployed this on a salmon net yet, right? It's designed for a bugle tube. So salmon net's a little bit bigger, heavier duty. We'll see. We might beef up the integrity. I'm going to Alaska later this year, and I will throw one on a salmon net and go do some destructive testing. That's what's cool with what my job is now, is I get to take these products and I'm like, well, we better go. We need some photography from this, but B,
you can write it off.
Yeah.
Well,
so
the government's fucking you. You might as well fuck them back. So,
I'm any penny I can keep in my pocket makes me happy. That's for sure.
I'm going to have you look. I got a couple of the primary nets I use outside they're not salmon nets, but they're kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, we'll check them out. We'll get you hooked up. I think you'll be and anybody listening out there who's got a net, who's got a bow, who's got a rifle, who's got a crossbow, if you got a coffee cup, you can kind of see where we're going. I'm not going to divulge the latest product. It'll be out. I don't know. I got hunts to go on, so when I get back from hunts, we'll work on packaging and label. And that's, Aron, what people see the success and go, it must be nice to be David of Bowspider. And while it is, I don't want anybody out there to think, I'm whining or complaining or anything. But what I would say is they see the success, and it's like an iceberg. They don't see all the times I've been hosed and all the late nights and all the times that things didn't go well. And you just have to you got to grin and bear it. It's no different than if I drop into a canyon elk hunting because I heard a bugle and we get down there and the wind shifts and the bull barks and the whole canyon goes silent. Do you give up and go home? No. You're like, all right, that sucked. How do we not do that again? We definitely screwed the pooch there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I get it. It is more than anyone, or as much as anyone, believe me. But I think, though, with people that are listening in, check out the website, but there's a lot of different options for a lot of different things. And again, like some of the guys I've seen do some pretty outside of the box.
The one that I'm going to tell you not do
system.
is people have asked me if I can put one on a pistol. Right now we have a 360-degree rotation on our system, and we're going to continue that for a while just because if we go to anything else, your bow is a 32-inch lever inside that half-inch system.
Yeah.
Something's going to break eventually, right? You put enough leverage on stuff, it breaks. So the reason that we have a 360-degree rotation is because then you reduce any friction, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a really bad deal with a sidearm.
Yeah.
You're now flagging everybody and everything. And look, Ivory Holsters makes a really cool Kydex holster, but there's another 150 holster manufacturers on the planet for pistols.
Yeah, if not more. Yeah.
We're not going to go to a sidearm. You asked me earlier in the podcast, what's one of the weirdest ones I've seen? Somebody just took a 1/4-20 screw and screwed a bow post to the bottom of their big DLSR. And there's other competitors in that space, but I'll tell you right now, I think we'll come out with a dedicated post to solve his problem for him. Because the way he had it, he had that inch angle bracket and then that 2-inch post. So he's got this 2.5, 3-inch pecker hanging off the bottom of his camera. And I looked at that like, we can slim that up and do something different. We could take care of him, and it won't be that hard. So now I do pack a camera in the woods, but I'll tell you right now, I bought the cotton carrier for our doll sheep film on YouTube. I carried that DLSR up there on the shoulder, and functionally as a hunter / photographer, it's just better for me to put the camera away in the backpack and hunt. And then when there's something cool to take a picture of, take the pack off and get the camera out, because I'm just too hard on equipment to have that camera there all the time. Yeah,
no, I've used a pile of different systems or whatever as far as for carrying camera gear, whatever. I mean, they all work. It's just,
and if you're a dedicated cameraman and you're packing, like a couple of times the videographers I've taken, they've had 2 cameras. They've had a long lens and a short lens. The long lens on their chest, the short lens on their shoulder. And I would probably, in that situation, look at doing some cool stuff. What is cool with the new Mini Molly is it's got those Molly clips. So if you've got any system, like we've got those Pro suspenders. I know you've seen them and we've talked about them. What I'm excited about is you add a hydro pack, any one from a Camelback to Marsupial to Kafaru, it doesn't matter. You add a hydration pack to the back of our suspenders. You add any pouch to the front, whether it be a bino pouch or a fishing pouch. You now have that receiver on the top of your shoulder blades. So if you're stalking in, say, open country for antelope, mule deer, whether you're archery or rifle, now your weapon is loaded on your back and you've got your tools. Ours are suspenders, so what's cool about that, and I've seen a couple people starting to copy it, but it's never been duplicated, is that side strap that goes on your ribs that holds those binos back no longer needs to be tight when you go to suspenders.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
It's a freeing feeling for sure. So for your fishing trip, I think you should try having a net on the old Bowspider on your back, whether you go to suspenders or just the Molly clip to, because you could clip one of those just to a little Camelback, and a net doesn't weigh anything.
Yeah.
The suspenders are designed for your bow that's 4.5 pounds.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, we're about to hit 30 minutes. Well, no, we're over 30 minutes. Where can everybody find website? I know you mentioned earlier website, things like that. Do you have anything on YouTube, like tutorial videos? Like, where can everybody find all the things to kind of see how it works?
Bowspider.com's the website. Instagram, Facebook is Bowspider, and then our YouTube channel is Bowspider, and that's where our 5 hunting films live, and film number 6 is coming. I'm pretty proud of it, and we've talked about this before. The films don't pay
you lose
the
money
bills,
on films, yeah.
but they're I don't know, pet projects. So if you want to do me a favor, go to the website, buy a Bowspider. If not, go to Instagram and Facebook and at least leave us a comment, share, like, follow. If you want some free content, there's 5 major hunts: Dall sheep, Cape buffalo, mountain goat, on the YouTube channel. And I'm getting ready this fall to go up and film the brown bear hunt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good luck on that, man. Well, I'm gonna tweak and torque and do some different things, obviously, on some of the systems you have, because I have not messed with the gun side, and that's been a problem. When I say a problem, rednecking it is not going well for me in the back of the truck. So, either way. But I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I know a ton of different people that use your system for a ton of different things. And like I said, my buddy's got, I don't know, 15 or 20 on the
some
wall.
Some of them have 12, 15.
Yeah.
I know some whitetail guys have talked to me. They're like, yeah, I converted to your system, liked it, but I have 12 dedicated stands on my farm in Missouri. And they're like, I finally, and what happened is they're like, they went up tree A, left the receiver.
Yeah.
The next day the wind's wrong, so they're up tree B with no receiver. And they're like, bag this. And so they bought receivers and put them on every tree.
Yeah.
Now for me, I whitetail hunt maybe 1 5-day trip every other 2-3 years, but I elk hunt religiously. This product was built for elk hunters by an elk hunter. How do I get in and out of the woods? I'm getting older, fatter, and slower, and I really like to ride a horse. They're more work through the rest of the year. They're actually more dangerous and more work on the hunt itself. But the second you drop a 700-800 pound bull, 6, 7, 8, 12, 30 miles away from a pickup truck, having a horse standing there is night and day different. So
yeah, horse or mule. No, I agree with that, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Everybody check out Bowspider. If you have questions, you're pretty active. I mean,
I try and be. That's one thing I want to drop on here. You'll like this one. So when I first started it, I've got email, I've got Messenger, you've got Instagram, I've got voicemail, text message, and I would get done with a trade show at 9-10 o'clock after we do whatever, and I'd be sitting in my hotel room going through messages and answering all these damn messages, right? And like I missed a message, and one guy put me on blast, and I'm going to put him on blast right now. He said, yeah, I tried to get a hold of Bowspider like 6 months ago, crickets. And I looked at that message and I was mortified. So I went and spent like a half hour, went back through everything. Scrolling through, and eventually I found this guy's post, and I saved it, screenshotted it, have it today. And I did reply to his second message, but his first message said, hey, send me one of those and I'll review it. I can remember to this day, I went to his personal channel. He had 200 followers and 9 fish pictures with 1 doe picture and no bows. And I went, this was like year 2 of Bowspider. I went, dude. And so I replied to him, his second message, and I said, yeah, we saw your post. It didn't warrant a response. So to everybody out there listening, I love to be as open and communicative and available. I used to have my personal cell phone on the website, but yeah, that had to go away because you guys would call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Dude, I got to sleep.
There. Yeah.
So I hand out my personal number to anybody and everybody that asks, but I do say, hey, be a little bit courteous with this number that I'm giving you. But, it comes down to that guy didn't say, hey, David, I'd love to start a YouTube channel. Would you send me one so I could review it? No, he said, hey, send me one of those and I'll review it. He didn't even address it to anybody. He didn't do any research. And so for the young kids out there listening, if you want some free gear from some of these companies that you're following, do your research, do your homework. There's a way to go about it. And turning around and putting me on blast and making me look bad, I didn't do it, but I should have screenshotted it and shared your post and just said this didn't warrant a response. So to everybody else out there, I'm trying not to be a jerk, but it is what it is. It's when you're dealing with the public. I know you could probably tell me hundreds of stories of, and there. Yeah. I'm sure I want to apologize to anybody out there that feels that I didn't communicate well with them or get back to them or respond. I'm just one guy, and I apologize. And send me another message, and I try my best to respond to all those.
Yeah, no. I mean, I get it. I totally understand. But yeah, dude, thanks for hopping on the podcast. Like I said, check out Bowspider, and we'll get a video going when we both have time on my truck system. So thanks again, dude.
Yeah, you're welcome.